Alright Outlaws, it's time to lock in and load with grace and dominate those team fights. Before the bullets fly, let's break down what you need to check to make every fight a massacre. When preparing for a team fight in League of Legends as Graves, several key factors come into play to maximize your impact and ensure your team comes out on top. Graves is a burst-oriented close-range marksman jungler with strong area of effect, damage and survivability, so your approach will differ from traditional carries or other junglers. In this video, I will present my checklist that you should follow when preparing for a team fight. Even though it will be a Graves-specific video, many concepts said in this video are applicable to any champion and any role. Let's start with one of the most important ones, positioning and timing. Graves has a short attack range and relies on his abilities end of the line Q, smokescreen W, collateral damage R for burst damage. Position yourself to stay near the front line but avoid being the primary target. Use terrain to your advantage as the end of the line's second part deals bonus damage. So it's always crucial to land the second part of your Q as well to maximize your burst. Next is engage timing. Wait for key enemy crowd control abilities to be used before committing. Graves is vulnerable to harsh CC, examples, stuns, roots, you name it. So avoid jumping in too early. Look for opportunities after the enemy blows major cooldowns or when your team engages. For example, Malphite ult, create chaos. The second most important thing to do before bots, even during the team fight, is to track key abilities. Ensure end of the line Q and collateral damage your ult are available before a team fight. These are your primary damage sources. Quick draw is critical for repositioning and stacking through grid. So use it strategically to dodge scare shots or kite. A good and important habit to have is to stack your E before a fight breaks out and gain a few stacks. This is important before ganking as well, but that's not always possible. Let's start with smokescreen, your W, can disrupt enemy vision, making it harder for carries or assassins to target you or your team. Use it to zone enemies or cover your backline, especially against skillshot heavy champions like Ezreal or Morgana. How to use your ult. Save collateral damage for finishing low health targets or dealing AoE damage when enemies are clumped. It also provides a knockback for self-build, so don't waste it if you might need to escape. Next is itemization and build synergy. By the time team fights happen, you likely have items like Himu's Ghostblade, Shield Bow or Infinity Edge. Know your role based on your build. Like if you go for Lethality 80 Burst, example Himu's Ghostblade and Collectors, focus on deleting squishy targets quickly instead of trying to fight tanks and heal them with your damage. Tankier build, for example Black Cleaver, Shield Bow, stay in the fight longer soaking damage while dealing consistent AoE. Some of the defensive items, if the enemy team has heavy burst, example Syndra or LeBlanc, consider Maw of Malmortius or Shield Bow. But Edge of Night can be a great option to survive initial engages. Guardian Angel can also be clutch in late game fights. Your shotgun pellets deal more damage up close, so itemize for survivability to stay in optimal range without dying. Team coordination is also crucial. I know it's solo queue and in the lobby ranks any sort of coordination is very unlikely, but you can always be the smarter player and that. What I mean by this is that you must go for fights with your strongest members. Is your mid laner the second strongest after you, or perhaps even stronger than you, but he died? Then don't even try to go for a team fight without them. You always want the best chance to win a fight, and without crucial members, your chance decreases by a lot. For Graves, it's generally better to let your main engage start the fight if you have a Malphite or Nautilus or anything that can create chaos instead of trying to engage without their help. As I mentioned before, your W can help with engaging, but it's mainly used for disengaging. You don't offer utility, just damage, but you still can try and use your W to blind key targets. The last thing I want to talk about before showing some in-game examples of how the best Graves players apply these concepts mentioned are some Graves-specific mechanics that you have to learn until they become a muscle memory. It's crucial to master how to use quick draw to dash over walls or reposition during fights. This also reloads your auto attacks, so weave auto attacks between abilities for maximum DPS. I see it too often that people keep spamming their E with Graves, but that's a huge mistake and a difference maker between a good and average Graves. Abuse terrain and look to position near walls to maximize end of the line your Q damage. In jungle fights, this is especially effective due to tight spaces. Don't forget to use mouse screen your W to disrupt enemy positioning or protect allies. For example, cast it on an enemy ADC to force them to reposition or miss kill shots. Lastly, I already mentioned this, but it's critical to stack your E on jungle camps or objectives. Most teamfights happen around key objectives like Dragon or Baron. Hit the objectives to stack your E and become even more tanky. Now let's see some of the best Graves players in action applying the things I mentioned. The first clip example is not really a team fight, but I wanted to highlight how useful it can be if you cancel your animation with your flash. You can surprise people with that many times and just secure free kills. Like this Yasuo wasn't expecting it at all. And then it's also a really good example of how Graves is using the terrain. Like, he just landed the Q. So the second part actually hit Diana here, which is really important, like I said, because that's your main damage, really. Obviously, besides your auto attacks. But yeah, unfortunately he died. Another example how to use your spells properly as Graves. The perfect example is this clip, really. Like, watch what Graves does. Like, he got hit by the bubble, so he knows that he can flash freely because Nami's Q is still on cooldown, and then he keeps moving back and forth in order to dodge the Nami bubble. And when the Nami bubble was already down, he knew for a fact that he can dash forward and just use his E. And after that, because he already knew that Nami has no flash, he just landed his ult, which was a guaranteed kill. Like, with Graves, you never want to use your ult unless you are trying to escape. If you're not sure that you can actually secure a kill with it, you always want to be patient with it because your opponent might flash, might dash away or something, but obviously Nami has no flash and has no dashes either, so it was a guaranteed hit. This will be the first team fight which I'm going to show you, which is perfect example how patient you want to be in these type of games. Even though you're super fed, you have 14 kills and have almost 4 items, and you're level 17, while even your carry is just level 14. You always want to be patient with your abilities and always want to be patient and see what spells did your enemy use. So in this example, Nami bubble got wasted, there is no Nami ult, and there is no Diana ult either. So now, instead of trying to dash over this wall sooner, he was actually waiting, which was the right move. And now that he is not in danger because Diana ult is down, Nami Q is still down, it's still on cooldown. Nami ult is obviously on cooldown as well. Now he can dash over this wall freely and actually start killing people. Diana is not a threat anymore, she is basically dead, so we want to move to the next target and kill the next opponent, which is Corki. Right, so now Corki is dead, Diana is dead, and we can actually go for this Baron. So let's play this team fight one more time. This time around with slow motion, with half speed only. Nami bubble is down, Nami ult is down, so we can dash out, hit the wall with our Q. So the second part is guaranteed, and then we don't even have to use ult. Like with Grace, if you don't have to use ult, then just stick to it, because I see too many people who just use ult and think that they can finish the kill with their ult, but then they maybe miss it or something and they just lose on a free kill. So if you don't have to use ult, then just really don't, and keep out attacking your target and keep using E and Q on them until they are dead, instead of trying to use ult and you might miss a free kill. Another example, we sidestep the Nami bubble and right after we can use our E, really. So let's watch it again in slow motion. Aurora shows up, there's a Nami bubble, we dodge it, so we can actually use our E for free just to reload and get an extra bullet, an extra shell, and now Nami is dead as well. It's really important on basically every champion, but especially on Graves, to keep moving between your auto attacks. And I'm gonna make a separate video on this and explain the key mechanics you must learn with the Graves, and this is actually crucial to learn how to move between your auto attacks. Let's watch it again in slow motion. So there's Graves, he has his ult, his E will be soon up, and watch how Yasuo is moving. Graves keeps auto attacking, but as soon as he sees the Yasuo tornado, he looks to dash away. Now he sees Diana, and because he sees Diana and sees Corki, he's thinking, okay, Diana definitely wants to catch me and ult me. So because of that, he actually uses his ult to create distance, and now Diana is no longer in position to catch Graves with ult, which probably would kill him, and now Diana is no longer a threat. We are staying behind our front line, and now we can farm and heal back up on the minions. The cooldowns are back, especially on Lulu. We get the shield, so now we can push forward. We wait the next minion wave, and now that our Mundo is in front, there is no enemy threat left, right? So now we can get the inhib and then look to get out. So League is not really about really fast reaction and such. It's all about predicting what your enemy's move will be, the next move. And once you play a lot, you're gonna have a really good feeling. Because let's watch this fight once again in slow motion and see that it's clear that this Diana wanted to go in and with Graves and kill Grace, because now Grace is the main damage. Obviously there's Lulu and the Mundo. Like, Lulu obviously is not a threat because she's just a support, and then there's Mundo. He has some damage, but like, he's not that big of a threat either. But that Graves with 17 kills is definitely a huge threat. So watch. Diana QE in, uses QE, and then definitely wanted to jump on Grace and do Grace. And then if she manages to do that, then Grace is dead, and Grace is giving away a huge bounty, 700 word bounty, which easily can change the outcome of the game if you give your bounty like that. So this was just one game example, and I'm gonna show you one more game. I'm going to show you two more examples in this game, even though this is just a small skirmish, not really a team fight, but this is what you should be looking for during the team fights as well. So let's play this fight once again. He's patient with his pals, even though he messes up his Q, he's still patient. Let's watch it on half speed. He waits for the hook, for the pike hook, then for the pike E, which is guaranteed, then looks to hit his Q. He should have hit this wall, and I'm pretty sure this was his goal, to land his Q on this wall. Unfortunately he missed, but you get the idea. So the second part of his Q hits, then dashes away and auto attacks one more time. So it's beautifully done. What he could have done as well was to auto attack, E away, Q, auto attack, and Q, after he E'd away to the right side, he could have land his Q on this wall on the left side, and then hit his second part of his Q a little bit faster. It hit Pantheon either way, but you could have done better. And this is a key mechanic you should be doing whenever you're playing Graves, not just in team fights, but in small skirmishes as well. Here, he is not patient enough, which is a huge mistake. Like, unfortunately, Pike's Q wasn't up yet. So what he should have done here was to actually wait and see and wait until Pike starts to charge his Q up. And when he starts to charge his Q, that's the right time to actually use your W, use your smoke screen on your opponent. So that way they are blind and it's way easier for Pike to land his Q. Unfortunately, he took a tower shot for no reason. So this dive is not that beautiful, but what he did really well and was nicely done was that he was patient after all and waited until Ambessa got stuck between the tower and the wall. And once that happened, it was pretty obvious from Gray's perspective that he will be able to land both his Q and his ult. Unfortunately, the damage wasn't there because he messed up the first part, him rushing his W, and instead of being a little bit more patient, he just decided to use it for no reason really. Ambessa gonna die either way, but unfortunately Pike will die for it because he will get one tower shot and the tower shot will kill him. So he easily could have saved Pike, but he didn't because he rushed his Q. W, sorry. So the other fight I want to show you is this one. Grace is pushing the tower, uses Q. Pantheon obviously gonna ult him. And then once he gets out of stun and sees Ahri, he uses E ASAP just to dodge the Ahri charm. And then he does this very nicely, that he looks to land his Q on the wall. Unfortunately, the angle was off, so he missed. Let's watch this in slow motion as well. So here it's important that when enemy has a point and click spell like Pantheon W, sorry, don't even use your E. It will do nothing because they're gonna land their skill shot either way, right? Because it's point and click. So just wait, let them hit you with their spell, and then use your E to create distance. And this way, he actually managed to kill Ahri because of this, because then he didn't get hit by the charm, so he wasn't CC'd for too long. Because if Ahri hits the charm, then he's pretty much just dead, because then Ahri can hit her Q and just kill Graves. Here a little bit Grace was too slow and unfortunately he doesn't have R, but he got the right idea of trying to hit this wall and trying to hit Ahri with his second Q. Unfortunately that didn't happen, so he flashes because he knows he most likely will die, so he wanted to trade 1 for 1 at least, and then flash out attacks to finish Ahri. Let's watch the final team fights in this game as well with some final examples, and I'm gonna call the video right there because it's already gonna be a long one. Let's watch it closely how this Grace plays the team fight and how you have to play the team fight as well. So firstly, let's go back a little bit more. There's gonna be a potential fight simply because there's a Drake and both sides want the Drake. So what this Grace does, this is what I was talking about. He's going for the blue buff to stack his grit, and he's always staying behind his front line, who is none other than Trash, and then keeps auto-attacking the closest target. He doesn't go in to try and one-shot someone from the enemy team. He always tries to keep his distance and then hit the closest target. He is patient with his E as well. He only looks to use E when he really has to. So he sees that there's Nautilus, He knows that the threat is Nautilus right here, because if he gets hooked by Nautilus, then he's most likely dead, because then Nocturne will look to ult him and he will die in this fight, but he avoids the hook, he stays behind Thresh, and he's patient with his E. Because if you look closely, he's not wasting his E, he's patient, he waits to reload, and only uses E when he has to. He's fine with waiting the auto attack animation, the reload animation. And now that his spells are on cooldown, he keeps auto attacking. And the most important part, he keeps moving between auto attacks. This is super important. So next team fight, Nocturne starts with ult. Nautilus ults him, so he looks to get away ASAP. This is also super important because after all you are just a marksman. So you don't want to be stuck and become a free target to the opponent. Now that there's no enemy around him and no one is able to kill him, he's willing to E forward and actually just keep out attacking until Rise is dead as well. But as soon as he got CC'd, got ulted by Nautilus, he looked to rush and get out. He looked to get out and not get hit by any other CC, which could have ended his life. With Mundo from a really close range where he cannot miss his ult, he goes for the ult and finishes Mundo. So we talked about this. This is also super important, and let's go to the next team fight. He moves behind Thresh. It's super important because he's frontline, and when he sees an opportunity to kill Senna, he goes for it just because he had shield bow. But now that he has no shield bow and has no HP left, once again he gets out, especially now that he sees Nocturne ult. And against Nocturne, it's super important that you buy pink wards and deny any potential vision. Stay in the bush because now you are in danger because Nocturne might go on you, and it's super important to have pink ward as well, pretty much on any jungler, but obviously on Grace as well, because you are squishy, and when there is someone like Nocturne in the enemy team with a huge threat with his ult, then you usually, if you can, want to stay in a bush with low HP whenever you are on low HP with a pink ward, so he cannot kill you and has to ult someone else. So just wait the ult out. Now he goes in, so he's not a threat anymore, and you see a free kill opportunity right here. Let's play it on half speed just so we understand what's going on here. So we know that two people are there. Senna is dead, Nautilus is here alone, and Nocturne ulted in. So we can actually finish Nautilus, and now that he's no longer a threat, and just because he looks to Q us and stun us, that does nothing. And now we can use our spells freely because we are not in danger anymore and can look to clean up the fight. So moving in and out of team fights is super important on any marksman, any assassin, any more squishy champion. But even if you are a fighter or a tank, it's totally fine to sometimes just get out of the fight and then re-engage or disengage if something doesn't go the right way. And then let's watch the final team fight I wanted to show you. Once again, there's gonna be a dragon soon, so obviously there's gonna be a potential team fight here as well. Well, I don't think that he looks to stack his E, but that's simply because he has no time for that. Like, they caught Mundo, so now his goal should be to join his team, create an advantage, and in a 3v2 kill Senna and Mundo. Obviously, Nocturne can join and might join, but if you just stay grouped and keep out attacking the closest target to you, then you shouldn't be in too much danger. Let me explain why Grace actually decided to go in like that. Look at the tab, look at the scoreboard. Tristana is super fed, right? I mean, not super fed, but she is fairly strong. We have Singed as well, who is bad, super strong. He has 15 assists, but and doesn't have that many kills, has only 1, but he has pretty good items. 3.5 item, but we are fed, and he has 2.5 items, which is good. Same as Tristana. We can out-attack the closest target. I would have waited with my smoke screen. It literally did nothing that we just smoke screen Mundo. He just walked away and walked out of our W. It would have been a better option to actually use W on Senna. And we didn't use our Q properly, but after Nocturne ulted in and all his spells are on cooldown, he's no longer a threat. And we can fairly assume that just because our Tristana is fed and Nocturne has no cooldown, Tristana will be fine with him and actually gonna be able to kill Nocturne, while we can go on Senna because Mundo cannot stop us. He's not really a threat, and like I said, we are super fed. We have shield bow, and Nocturne is no longer a threat to us because all his spells were on cooldown. So we can actually go in and make plays like these and kill the other priority target, which is none other than Senna. And once Senna is dead, worst case, we can help our Tristana to finish Nocturne, and Mundo cannot do anything to us because he's super behind. He's 1-8. Pretty much that's it. That's how you are supposed to team fight with Graves. I hope these examples really helped you, and if you found the video helpful, then definitely smash the like button if you haven't already, and of course subscribe as well if you haven't already. Obviously join my Discord server because I still offer free coaching for new members and paid coaching as well, so feel free to check that out on my Discord server. I have more details about the coaching there, and see you all in my next video. Peace.